Hi folks, I'm back. I'm Chris. Thanks for watching. I'm going to continue the story of my RC journey to date. So the story with this car, so I got it just before Christmas. I ran it just after Christmas in our first run in January. I also took the plunge because I sold the Armour. And this was the plan. I thought, well, I want a decent amount of money to get a two-wheel drive car, all the bits I needed for it, and I'm going to buy a decent set of radio gear. Because before that, and even now, my son and I were running the Dumbo RCs, which are great sort of all-rounders, but they're not particularly got any finesse about them. 40-45 quid gets you one of these and your receiver, obviously. And my son's still running it, but I upgraded, and so I've upgraded to an MT5 from Sanwa. I got this second hand, although the seller said it was new, and it comes with the original box, and it does look in extremely good condition. It doesn't, it's got no signs of wear at all. So I think the seller was genuine, which is obviously a bloody massive relief, but it was 210 quid instead of 260, 270, they are new. And they don't come up very often second hand. Obviously this is the latest model as well. I would have gone with a MT44 or something of that ilk, but this seemed like a really good buy, and I had the money in the bank, and it came up and I went, bang, I'm having that. So yeah, it's been great. And so lots of drivers have told me that your radio is a really important component. And I kind of thought, yeah, maybe, probably not for me, my level of driving, because I'm not brilliant. I'm okay. Probably not for my son, he's just learning as well. I have to say, the difference between this and this is quite stark. Or at least it is for me. This one, like I say, is fine, but this, you just feel so much more connected to the car, and the inputs you can make, it's just much more subtle, which gives you, a way better feel. I've bought a second-hand motor for this car, and it's a Yokomo motor, and it's a 6.5 turn. At the time of looking for motors, which was just before Christmas this year, last year, there weren't hardly any for sale second-hand, and before, generally there's loads you can buy on Facebook or eBay or whatever. But new, it really shocked me. I thought, blimey hell, I need to spend like at least 90 quid on a new motor, and I didn't, to get the car and my radio, that was pushing my budget really. So I bought a second-hand one. I got it for £30. I was cheeky with the guy on eBay and said, as it's Christmas, will you accept 30? It was up for 35, and he said, yeah, that's fine. And he was an amazing eBay. His communication was fantastic, and the motor is brilliant. So top buy. I was a bit wary because it was a Yokomo, but the guy was saying, I run Yokomos and he's he's well into it, and he's a racer, so we got chatting and stuff. So I was quite confident there would be a decent motor, and he said it's only done one last season, so he's not, he says about 20 meetings or something. So for me, I just thought, well, that's fine. It'd be great for me. I did think it was a bit overpowered for a two-wheel drive, particularly for me. I mean, it's even the top drivers are running about a 6.5. So my first race meeting, I rock up in 2023. I rock up with this brand new car, brand new radio, brand new setup. and I've never tested it other than in the living room because the weather's horrible outside. I don't want to get it gnarled up with all sorts of horribleness, particularly on its first run. And I just didn't have the time. I was kind of waiting for it to be a reasonable day. There's an AstroTurf football pitch not far from here, and I thought, oh, I could just run it on that just to get a feel of it and make sure everything is set up properly. Just didn't get the time and circumstance, this, that and the other. Oh, the other thing to mention at this point is the guy I bought it off is a racer. He also flies loads of planes, but he knows Nathan Rails, who is the X-Ray team manager. And actually Nathan commented, because the guy I bought this off, I thanked him for it in my first race report, what I'm telling you about now. And Nathan's, obviously knew the guy. And I said, what was really good about that is obviously it made me know that this has been a decent car. So obviously when you're buying secondhand, you don't really know. There's a lot of trust going on, isn't there? You are trusting the person you're buying from to say, yeah, it's genuine, I've looked after it, this, that and the other. So for example, this has got the dirt rear wishbones on it, and he said it in his description, he prefers them. The original carpet ones are in the box if you want to swap it around. I've since spoken to Richard again at our place, who has now switched to Schumacher, but as I say, last year and the year before was running X-Ray. And he says, oh, no, that's what you want. You want the dirt on the back. And it does give it, you can get it a little bit lower, I think. It's certainly lower than the 2019, but obviously this is 2 years on, so a more developed chassis, full stop. It also had the aluminium steering rack in it as well. So, it's good. It's a good bit of kit. And my four-wheel drive's got the equivalent on there. So back to this race, plonk it on the track for the first time. My son is a bugger when it comes to race meetings. We could get there for 8:30 and have an hour of practice before the heats. He won't do that. So consequently, got there 9:30, racing starts at 10. We've got to get set up a little bit on pit table and this, that and the other. So no practice. My first race, put this down. It works fine with this, but it's so slow. I'm like, as I'm driving it around, I'm thinking, what's going on here? It's got a 6.5 turn motor in it. Why is it going so slow? I mean, there were Tamiyas going around with silver cans faster. I mean, the one thing it was good for was, because it was my first run with it, is I made hardly any mistakes because it was that slow. But to give you, I think I did something like 15 laps, maybe let's say 15. And now I've been again to another race meeting and I did really well and did 20 laps. 21 laps, sorry. Is my best to date. I've only done 2 meetings this year so far. So yeah, really slow. And I'm like, oh no, what's wrong? So my initial thought was it was the ESC, the setup I'd done there was wrong. Or was it the radio? So the problem with these radios, ladies and gentlemen, at the back, who haven't got one yet, is of course they have got tons of settings in them, which you think, oh, that's great. The ESC's got some, 9 parameters that you can change as well. This has got many more than 9. So I thought I knew what I was doing with that, but I thought I must have done something wrong. So I got my program card out. There's a guide video, I'll put it in a link that a guy's done that's brilliant for these, his recommendations. So I went through and did all that again. I checked everything on here and I was thinking, I've turned, I actually turned it to the dual rate up to 150%, which is the max, to try and get it go faster for the next race. Because I thought, I've done everything, put it down, still stupidly slow, slightly quicker than before because the dual rate's up at 150%. So comes off the second run, obviously it's still not right. and then my son's sort of badgering me. He likes to play football in between these races, this, that, and the other. I'm like, I can't. I need to sort this out. I've just spent a fortune on these things, and I don't know what I'm doing. You know, it's going rubbish. And then meanwhile, I've run another heat with this because I thought, sod it, I've got 2 cars. I'm going to enter both. That went fine, great. You know. Although was a bit slow as well, and that's hooked up to this as well. So that's the other part of the story, I guess. These blooming receivers, 86, no, they might be £89 each. I think it might have paid 87. I mean, you know, splitting hairs, isn't it? I mean, just frighteningly stupid prices, because this is the latest model. So it's the FH5 protocol that Sanwa have introduced, thanks Sanwa. So it's not compatible with any of their other receivers. Great. The good news is the new receiver I've put in there is waterproof. Nothing else is, but that is. So back to second race, still really slow. That was a bit slow. So I thought, you know what? There's something. Well, it twigged actually. I just thought, hang on a minute. In this guide video for the ESC, he said it's really important to calibrate the ESC first thing you do. It's the first part of the video. I thought, and he says, you know, make sure everything on here is on neutral, make sure your timing on your motors on 0. So, you know, full forward, press the button, full reverse, press the button, sets the ESC, so neutralises it basically, so it knows what, you know, top whack is and what stop is, and full reverse. So I did that. All of a sudden, this baby came alive. My God. Because, yeah, it's a 6.5 turn. And, yeah, it just came alive. And I am, you know, sort of that much power on the trigger. But because of this radio, I can do that. Whereas with the Dumbo, obviously you can do that as well, but it doesn't respond. It's not as sensitive. So you have to, there's a lot more movement you need to put into this than this. And I've really found this amazing. And you just can feel the car. It's like, wow. And I'm not a brilliant driver at all. So second meeting, take it out, everything's set up fine. So not way less stress, which obviously clearly is a racing. You don't want your brain to be stressed. You want to be calm. So yeah, went out, had a bit of a tangly first run because of another driver just driving a bit badly, really. Anyway, second heat, that didn't happen. Had a really good run. It got better and better and better. So got up to 21 laps with this. Now, I've only ever done 21 laps with this. And interestingly, these 2 meetings, the first one we did in this second one, same track layout. So our track tends to change the indoor track every 2 race meetings. So it will change the next time we go. So it was like for like, so it was really good. So I think first race meeting with this, I think I did 19 when I sorted out the ESC and the calibration with this. So then got up to 21 laps in the last heat with this. Did a 21 with this as well. I need to get a bit more aggressive with this, I think. But equally, maybe not, because I don't want to rip off more wishbones. I just need to get better at driving. But I'm not making anywhere near as many mistakes, some of which is to do with this. So I've not yet broken my lap record using this and this, but I'm driving much better. I'm close to 22 laps with this. I've got to 21 with this, straight away with this and this. You know, I can't recommend it highly enough. The money is frightening, but I have good news, people. So I now feel really guilty because Dad, have got all this amazing kit. I've got the 21, you know, the XB221. I've got top, you know, mid-range Sanwa. My son's got the 2019 XB2 and the Dumbo RC. I sold mine to contribute to that. The other good news with these, why these are good, they're cheap to buy, they also keep the value. So I think I think these might be around 50 quid now on, you know, Alibaba or Banggood. And obviously they take some weeks to arrive. But I sold my version of this second hand within a week. You know, I could have sold 20 of them for 30 quid, plus a bit of postage, so covered the postage. So yeah, I lost 20 quid. I mean, well, I actually, when I bought them, they were 40 quid, so I lost a tenner. And I'd used it, obviously. So brilliant. So the good news, that's one, good news part one. Good news part two, I feel guilty for having all this posh kit. I know I'm a better driver with this combo. This is gold. I want to get my son one. It's his birthday in March. Sneak preview, I've already got him one. But I've got him Sanwa MTS, which is obviously an older version of this. But it's come with 2 receivers and the handset. The guy, obviously I'm trusting the guy, it's second hand from eBay. He used to, well, he races at Kidderminster, which sadly is closing down, which is a real sad tale in itself. But anyway, you know, he drives an EB 410, I think it is, a Techno and a Yokomo, and he's selling it because he's got a Noble 4 handset, he's telling me. So that all stacks up to me. I've got it, I've received it. It's a bit dusty and you can see it's a little bit worn, but he said it's a, and I said, you know, I thanked him for sending it afterwards, and he said, yeah, it's a really solid handset. It's got loads of life left in it. So, you know, I feel really good. And guess what I paid? 210 for this. Second hand but new, really. 1 receiver. So an MTS, I've not got it here, it's at work actually. Sanwa MTS, 2 receivers, £85 plus postage, 90 quid. Third tip, I also used or signed up to PayPal Credit. PayPal Credit gave me £20. So I paid 70 quid. What? Amazing. Now obviously, you know, get credit at your own risk, all that. But there you go. So that's the story so far, folks. Hope it's interesting. So I'm obviously recording these videos, you know, partly for me as like history. But I hope some of it's useful, and I think, so the main thing here is that I have to sell stuff to buy other things. And the other thing I got with this car, or the guy, is I noticed on RC Bay, well, he listed this on RC Bay, and I saw it, and it was 210 quid. And he had another one as well. And he subsequently told me it's because he's got a 23, he's bought a 23, he says it's a brilliant car, I've just upgraded. And then I saw it again on eBay, and I think he had it up for 180 quid or whatever, and it didn't sell. And he listed it again, as eBay does. So I got in touch and said, would you take 170 quid for it? And he said, yeah, happy to. So done, deal done. And then I also noticed he was selling some tyres on RC Bay. And he had 2 lots, and they were a bit expensive, to be honest with you. Anyway, I got in touch with him again, said, I noticed you've got some tyres, did you sell them? He said, no. And I said, well, you know, I've got a 4-wheel drive, I've got a 2-wheel drive already, and the one I bought from you, you know, can you do us a deal? And he sent me a box full of tyres with this car for 50 quid. And I've got some mezzos, I've got the tyres that are on this, so Cactus, and loads of ribs for the front. I've got some Fusions for the 4-wheel drive, and various other bits. He's got some J-Concept fuzz bites for the front, and some I think Pro Lines for the back, some spikes, which by his own admission didn't work for him, so they probably won't work for me either. But anyway, there's a load of useful tyres. They're all, apart from those slight oddity ones, they're almost new. The rest are part worn, but for me, part worn is totally fine. I've also got some yellow compound, silver compound mezzos as well, so I've got some wet tyres. I mean, for 50 quid, I have done, and I can kit out all these cars, probably for this season, almost from that box of tyres. So And as you know, all these consumables for the car racing are really expensive. So this, certainly the Fusions and the Cactus, and the same for Saws, we could probably do with changing them. I have got a new set of Cactus rears for both of those. These are what came with it, and they're pretty good. And we get at least sort of 6 meetings out of our tyres, if not more, because we can't afford, to keep swapping the tyres, and we're not that competitive, I guess. If I get really good, you never know. I might have to change the tyres a bit more often, and I'll see if I can find that money. But there's bits. I've also, so Saw's rear drive shaft popped out, and I've noticed there is one of them, the pin has been moving a bit, for several meetings. Sometimes it's fine, then it'll move, and it rubs on the gearbox casing, so obviously not great. And I tap it back in. This time I didn't have anything to tap it back in with, and it was being a bit of a bugger. It was stuck basically, and I bent the drive shaft slightly. I managed to bend it back and get the pin centered again. But I've bought him a set of new rear drive shafts. Now these drive shafts new are £20.99 each from X-Ray. Friday. So I bought 2 from eBay yesterday for 15 quid. I mean, brilliant. Brand new, never been used. So, sometimes they're out there. The trouble I have is obviously not spending money on RC cars. I'm sure you have the same addiction. But anyway, that's an update to now. Hopefully, sadly, we can't get to the next meeting in Sheffield because I'm taking my daughter to a dance competition. But we'll go to some others. We might even get to Bakewell, which is a good little meeting as well. And then there's the regional in Sheffield in April. It's the first of the series. Take a look if you're in our area. Obviously, do what you want to do. Let's see how it goes, folks. And happy racing. Thanks for watching.
1 finished. 2 finished. Race over.